Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Tammy, and today we're just gonna update and hang out and bake some bread. So y'all know, y'all already know, I hate to keep repeating it, but in case there's one new person, I broke my ankle 2 weeks ago. So I've been kind of lacking in the video department because I can't get around very well. But I'm in the kitchen today, crutch in hand. I have my boot on also. I'm doing better. I haven't had as much pain as I thought I was going to have. Now, it doesn't feel good, but it's manageable. It's manageable. The only time I really have a lot of pain is if I'm up on it a lot. I got in the kitchen the other day to make a video for my other channel. Y'all know my other channel is a cooking channel that requires me to be in the kitchen on my feet. And so I did a recipe that I thought wouldn't have me on my feet as much, but after I made that video, my leg was pretty dang sore. So I'm trying to take it easy. But this weekend, I am going to be filming a fun video, I hope, for y'all. I'm going up to my parents' house. They live out in the woods. And my daddy is a forager of everything. He hunts, he fishes, he has a garden, they have chickens, all the things. But this time of the year, they get the chanterelle mushrooms. If anybody knows what that is, it's a certain kind of mushroom that people really like. And I feel like if you like go buy them, like in a restaurant, you know, like order them, like it's kind of expensive. I don't know that I've ever seen them in a store. I guess maybe a different kind of store than Walmart. But anyway, so Daddy called and said the mushrooms have grown, bloomed, whatever it is mushrooms do. So he knows that I'm incapacitated right now, but he said, come on down. We'll put you in the side-by-side, you know, this little all-terrain vehicle. He said, I'll drive you around and I'll get out and pick the mushrooms. So I was like, all right, that sounds good to me. So I am going to take y'all along. Daddy is fine with being filmed and giving y'all the information about the mushrooms and all the things. So we're going to go down and we are going to forage for mushrooms with my daddy this weekend. So I'm going to record that for y'all. That will be in another video. But since I'm going there, I said all that to say this. I am going to bake them a loaf of sourdough bread to take with me when I go, just to give it to them. Because we talk about sourdough all the time, and I don't think they've had homemade sourdough bread before. So we're going to make a loaf of sourdough bread to take to my parents' house. So I thought, since I'm not getting around, since I'm not able to get up and film a fun, you know, cleaning out the closet video for y'all, that I would just update y'all on how I'm feeling, and then we can make some bread together. Now, we made a loaf of sourdough bread probably 4 or 5 months ago on the channel. That was a new recipe that I tried. We're gonna go back today to my tried and true recipe, to the one that I always double it. We're gonna double it because if I'm making sourdough bread, I'm gonna have to eat a little bit, and I don't want to eat off the loaf I'm gonna give them. So I will turn y'all around. We're gonna throw some sourdough bread together. I am working today. It is very early in the morning, so I'm getting this started before I start work. And then y'all know I work from home, so I'm just gonna come back into the kitchen every little while, just to do the really quick steps that need to be done for my bread. So all that said, I'm gonna turn y'all around. We're gonna make the bread, and we'll chit chat a little bit later.
Okay, so I'm using my original sourdough recipe for this bread today. So I've got my big bowl sitting on my kitchen scale, and I'm gonna add about 620 milliliters of room temperature or slightly warm water. My kitchen is very cold. My whole house is very cold. So I usually warm my water up just a little bit, but now you don't want it so hot that it messes anything up. But if it's freezing cold, just pop it in the microwave for, 30 seconds or so and warm it up just a tad. So then I'm going to save that over to the side. You'll see what for in a minute. So after I add my water to my bowl, I'm going to add in my starter. Now I fed my starter last night, and you see it more than doubled and it's ready to be used. So I like my starter on the thick side, but a lot of people like a thinner starter. I just find that my bread bakes up better. It just works better for me if my starter is thicker. So 240 grams of starter is what I added to my water. And then I'm mixing it up really good with my Danish dough whisk. You can use whatever you have. You don't have to have one of these. I just find that it works better. Like, it's really easy to get everything mixed together. Then you're going to add in 1,000 grams of unbleached bread flour or all-purpose. I use bread flour because I feel like it works better. And then you're going to add in about 20 grams of salt. This is a double recipe, by the way. Okay, so this is going to make 2 loaves. I needed 2 loaves on this day, so I doubled it. So once you get everything added to your bowl, you're just going to mix that up really good, again, with your Danish dough whisk or your wooden spoon or whatever it is you have that you're using. You want to mix this until all the flour is incorporated, and it may still be a tiny bit on the dry side, but just try to make sure that you get everything good and mixed in. I always mix with my hand at the end just to make sure I don't feel any big clumps of flour or anything. But that's just personal preference. You know, do it however you want to. If you're not comfortable sticking your hand in, then you don't have to. So once you get everything mixed in, I just take my little dough scraper or bench scraper, whatever you want to call it, and scrape down the sides of my bowl just to get all that dried stuff off. And then you're going to cover it and let it sit for about an hour. Then we're going to start our stretch and folds. We're going to do this every 30 minutes 4 times. And you're just going to pull your dough up, fold it over, and then do that 4 times as you turn your bowl, a quarter turn each time. And then you'll notice that your bread will start to get more smooth, or your dough will start to get like really smooth and the texture will change. And then sometimes I swap to these folds you see me doing, which are called coil folds. They're a little bit more gentle on your dough, and I find that it really makes, I don't know, like, I just like these a lot better. I do the stretch and folds the first time or two, and then for the second, the third, and fourth sets, I usually do the coil folds. So you sit 30 minutes in between each of these, and then once that's done, we're going to cover it up and put it somewhere warm. Okay, so that was the last thing we need to do to our bread today, and now I have it in my microwave with the door shut, but the light on. And that way, let me make sure y'all are straight. And that way it'll be a little bit warmer because my house is very cold. I mean, my hands are even cold right now. So I put it in there just to keep it warmer. I don't close the microwave because I want the light to be on, or I will put it in my oven with the light on, like the oven off with the light on. And I'm just going to let that rise for, I don't know, however many hours it takes. It's still before lunchtime here, so probably before I settle down for the night and go and take my bath and stuff, hopefully it'll be ready by then, and I'll go ahead and get it shaped up and put it into the refrigerator, and then we'll let it sit in the fridge overnight, and then I'll bake it tomorrow. I've got sourdough under my fingernails. I'm picking at my nails over here. So, okay, now our bread is pretty much done for the time we can't do anything else with it. It will sit on the counter or in the microwave or in the oven or whatever for anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending on how strong your starter is and how cold your house is. Those things are usually, for me, the biggest factors. If my house is super cold, I need to get it somewhere warm. And my house is always super cold because y'all know I'm old and menopause has got me by the throat. So I wanted to show, speaking of menopause and getting old, I wanted to show y'all something that I just got that I've been using. Okay, I hobbled over there. So I've been trying to do better. I've been trying to do better with my skincare, and I mean, I know, is it too little too late? Probably so. I'm 50. I should have started this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but here we are. So I've been looking, and you know, I've tried all kinds. Don't mind my dirty dishes, but y'all know I ain't tending to dirty dishes
right now. I'll get them after a while. Okay, so now that I've gotten a little bit aged, I'm not really aging like fine wine, y'all. So I've been doing a couple of things to kind of help myself. Can I reverse the wrinkles? No. But can I maybe try to slow them down? Maybe. When I was at my sister's, when I went for my nephew's wedding, she was telling, like, I was like, girl, your skin is looking good. And she was like, it's that new collagen I've been using. And I've been looking to find like a good collagen supplement, but I hear such mixed reviews on stuff. So I had not, gotten anything yet. I don't know. I feel like maybe I talked to y'all about this before, but anyway, regardless, anyway, she told me what she was using. And so I was like, well, girl, if you're getting results like that, I'm gonna have to get me some of that. So it's called, here's the bottle because I'm standing in the kitchen. Let me see if I can get it to focus on there. Is it? Okay, it's called Spoiled Child. It's extra strength liquid collagen, supports skin, hair, nails, joints, and gut health. It has types 1 and 3 collagen plus vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, and you just take 1 to 2 tablespoons every day. It's liquid. The biggest problem I've had with collagen in the past is it's a powder and it never mixes. Even if they say it's going to mix in good, it doesn't. And then it tastes weird to me, even if it's supposed to be flavorless. This stuff is good. They have 2 flavors of it. This is the pineapple. She uses the mango. My son is allergic to mango, so I stopped buying anything mango years ago. I just got out of the habit of getting it. So I'm going to go with the pineapple. So anyway, I started this actually today. I started because when I first I got it right after right before I broke my ankle. And the doctor wanted me to take calcium, like a big dose of calcium and vitamin D3. And I didn't know, my stomach is so funny. Y'all know how it is when you get older. I didn't want to start all of this at once and then not be able to figure out if something was messing with my tummy. So I've been taking that for a couple of weeks now, the calcium and the vitamin D3. So I just started on this collagen supplement. I took it for the first time today. Y'all, I could drink the bottle. It tastes so good, but you're supposed to mix it into liquid. It just says 1 to 2 tablespoons daily. Oh, it says as is or mixed with a beverage of your choice. I could just take the tablespoon of it, y'all. It is really good, but I read it wrong this morning. So I mixed it in with just some water and it had 0 flavor. Like it just tasted like I was drinking water. So it really is flavorless. I mean, even though it's flavored, it's very concentrated flavor if you just take a sip. But mixed into water, I didn't taste it at all. So I wanted to have a little flavor and I dumped an electrolyte packet into my water and mixed it in with this. So, and you have to keep it in the refrigerator so you keep it cold, but it is delicious. Obviously not sponsored or anything, but if I find something good, I always want to share it. Now, I can't personally vouch for this yet because again, I just started taking it today, but my sister's been taking it for a couple of months and she said she's noticed a big difference in her hair not falling out and her skin looking better, and stuff. So I'm going to give it a try and we'll see how it goes. Y'all will see along the way. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all. I really enjoyed it this morning. I really enjoyed it. And so far it hasn't caused any issue. Of course, it's only been a couple of hours since I used it. But we will see how it goes along the way. I will keep y'all posted. But for now, I got to get back to work. Let me get old crusty crutch over here. I got to get back in there and get back to work, but I just wanted to share that with y'all. And that way, if y'all are in a similar boat and you're looking for something, yeah, you'll know what I'm using. And we'll see if we see any difference along the way. But like I said, I'm going to get back to work and then I will see y'all back in here when it is time to shape our bread and get it into the baskets for our overnight proofing in the fridge. So I'll see y'all in a little while.
Okay, so this is after 8 hours. You can see that it has more than doubled in size, and it's got a big old bubble there on the top. It's got some big bubbles in there. It's nice and jiggly, and when I touch it with my fingers, it's a little tacky, but it doesn't stick to my hand, and it is pulling away from the sides of my bowl. That's how I know that my dough is ready for me to go, and I almost let it go a little too long, so, here we are. So once your dough is ready, you're just going to dump it out on your surface. I'm using this silicone mat because I have these tile countertops that I can't stand, y'all know. And then you're going to need to cut this in half because remember we doubled the recipe, so we're going to have to divide this into 2 loaves. I use a bench scraper to cut mine. You can use a knife or whatever you have. Anything will work to separate your dough. And it doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of try to get it even so that it bakes up evenly. And then one by one, I'm just going to gently stretch my dough into like a rectangle shape. And then I'm going to press it down to try to get any big bubbles out of it because we're making it as a sandwich loaf. I don't want those really big bubbles in there. So press it out, and then you're going to fold each side in and then roll it up into a loaf shape, okay? And then I'm saying loaf pans and loaf shape because we're putting these in loaf pans. And I spray my pans really good. If you don't, your dough will stick when you bake it. I made that mistake before. So spray it really good with some cooking spray. Roll your dough up, pinch the seams together, and then place the dough into your bread pan, seam side down, okay? I add a little flour to keep it from sticking and then into the fridge overnight.
Okay, y'all, so that is our sourdough bread in the refrigerator, ready for in the morning. Now, obviously, y'all saw that I put those in loaf pans. Now, I do have a sourdough sandwich bread recipe on my other channel, and that is a like a soft sandwich loaf. This is going to be just like one of the round loaves you see, so it's going to be crusty and crunchy and all that stuff on the outside, but it will just be in the shape of a loaf of bread. And those I just find, I like to do the round ones because they're just so pretty and everything, but they're not very practical all the time. So if you're gonna wanna use these for like toast or sandwiches or something like that, I just have started doing mine in bread pans. And what I do, well, you'll see tomorrow, but just real quick, what I do is it's a little bit different with the temperature and stuff, which I'll tell you about tomorrow. What I do is essentially create an oven with my pans. So I'll put another bread pan on top of each one of those to seal in the steam to make them puff up and do what sourdough bread does. Because normally sourdough bread is cooked in like a Dutch oven. You gotta get my crutch. So yeah. That's what we're gonna do. So in case anybody was confused as to why that just went into a bread pan. But I had my bath and it's getting, well, I say it's getting late. You see it's still light outside. It is about 7:30, I think. But I did go and get my bath taken care of and all that. I've got my pajamas on. So you'll see me in this again in the morning because that's what I'll come in here and bake the bread in, I'm sure. Or maybe I'll get dressed. Who knows? I might just stay in my nightgown all day. You never know about me. But anyway, that's the last step before we bake. So I just wanted to show y'all that and pop in here and say hello and tell you why I was using bread pans. So I will see y'all in the morning when it's time to bake the bread. Good morning, y'all. It is the next morning and it is time to bake our bread. If you hear noise in the background, my neighbor, her yard is being cut. So he keeps riding past that window over there, cutting her grass. But anyway, I'm about to pull the loaves out of the refrigerator and we're going to get them baked. So I'm gonna turn y'all around so y'all can see.
Okay, y'all, so once your bread has sat in the refrigerator all night, you're gonna take it out we are going to take our little plastic wrap or whatever you have wrapped your bread up with. Mine are these little shower cap looking things. They're food grade bowl covers, but they look like shower caps. So, you know, that's what they are. Ow, I just kicked something. Anyway, so then you're going to just get this ready for the oven. So because it is sourdough, I am going to score it just like I would if it was a round loaf of sourdough bread, just so I can give it somewhere to bust. Because it's going to bust. If we put a little cut in it like this, it just gives it, you know, it tells it where to bust. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're telling it this is where we want it to bust open at. And that way your bread ends up prettier and not with a whole bunch of jagged explosions all over it. And then I spray it down really good with water because we need some steam to help this rise. And because the lids don't seal all the way, I just find that when I do it in bread pans like this, it helps to spray the tops of these with some water. Okay. So once we've done that, you're just going to flip your other bread pans right on top of these. And again, it's not going to be a perfect seal. That's why I use the water. And then we're going to pop these into our preheated oven and let them bake.
Okay, so the bread is in the oven with the other bread pans flipped on top of it, and we're gonna let that bake for about 30 minutes. You saw that I did score it, and I sprayed it pretty liberally with some water. That's just gonna help create the steam in there that's gonna make our bread puff up real pretty. So, we shall see. If I'm making regular bread, I don't score the top, but with sourdough, you need to score the top to give it a place to bust, or it'll just bust and look all crazy. So that is why we scored that. I'm gonna let it cook for 30 minutes. I don't think I told y'all. I preheated the oven to 500. Then once I put the bread in, I dropped the temperature to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll cook 30 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit with the lids on, with the covers on. And then I will take those covers off, and we will bake them for another 15 minutes or so until they're nice and brown and done. So you want your bread to get to an internal temperature of about 200 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is what we're looking for. Sometimes I temp mine, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can just tell by looking because I've been doing it for a long time. But that is where we're at. We're gonna let these bake. I'm gonna go do some work, and then I will be back in here to take those out in just a little bit. Oh, wait. Okay, so here is the bread out of the oven, and you can see where it looks darker on camera, but it's a little bit dark here around the edges, but I don't mind that. I actually got a last minute work call that came in, and I had to get on a call, so I had to get somebody to come and pull the bread out for me. But oh, it looks so good. Listen, y'all, listen. It's so crusty and yummy. So when you pull it out of the oven after that last 15, well, should be 15 minutes, mine went a little bit longer, but it's not, it looks kind of dark on camera, but it's not super dark actually. Anyway, once you pull it out of the oven, then it has to immediately be pulled out of the pans and put on a cooling rack. And that way the bottoms don't get all wet. But that is our 2 loaves of sourdough right there. I'm gonna take them to my dad's tomorrow and give them some bread. All right, so that is our bread done. Like I said, or maybe, did I say it? I don't know if I said it on camera or not, but they, once they come out of the oven, so you cook them at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes with the lids on. Then you pull the lids off, or in my case, the other bread pan. You pull that off and then let it bake for about another 15 minutes. But I got pulled into a work call, a last minute work call, and I didn't get in here to get them out. So I had to text the other folks in my house to come and pull them out. But these are I mean, so you can see how, you know, the size of them. But yeah, they're nice and crusty and crunchy. on the outside, just like a regular loaf of sourdough bread would be if you have like one of the fancy round loaves. But it makes excellent sandwich bread. So I am going to let this cool completely. Sourdough, if you've never baked sourdough, is a funny beast, and it needs to, in my opinion, now some people do cut it warm, but if it's cut warm, a lot of times it's going to be gummy. So I let mine cool down completely. So since I'm not eating these loaves of bread, I will cut into one. And this video will be over by then because it's going to be late tonight, and I need to get this everything started so I can edit this for y'all. So once I cut the bread, I will insert a picture right here of what it looks like on the inside. And the other loaf, once it cools completely, I will wrap it up to take it to my parents. And my niece, my young niece, my sister's youngest daughter, she loves my sourdough bread. So I'm going to cut this other loaf that I'm going to cut into to show y'all. I'm going to have me a piece or so, but then I'm going to take the rest of it and give it to her because she always loves her Aunt Tam's sourdough bread. So, and my nephew actually asked for it too. So I'm going to take that to them. But as of right now, I'm rambling on. I am going to let the bread cool down completely, and then I will package it up and slice it up, and it will be ready to go for tomorrow. So tomorrow starts our adventure out picking mushrooms with my daddy, and I think my brother may be coming, and I know one of my sisters will be there, so it's going to be a family affair. But I'm going to do that starting tomorrow. But for now, the bread is done and it's cooling, and I've got to get back to work, so I will see y'all real soon. Bye, y'all.